Top of the table.
Has your kid or partner ever made you wonder why they are stuck to their gaming device all day long? Do you find them irritated or ready to fight back when you ask them to drop the game? Do you find them reaching out to the gaming device every time they have free time at hand? You must have said it out loud. What is this addiction? But addiction, it truly is. And now even the medical world recognizes it. Hello and a very warm welcome to Top of the Table. And today we find out if you or the people around you are game addicts. And to tell us about the science and ways of dealing with it, we have with us our in house clinical psychologist, Jaswandi Sahasrabudhe. Hi, Jaswandi.
Hey, hi Sheetal.
So, just one thing, to be honest, one usually thinks that gaming is limited to kids or adolescents. But, I have been seeing so many cases where there are people in their early 20s and early 30s who are hooked on to internet gaming, things like Call of Duty or PUBG and even Solitaire for that matter.
So Sheetal, I would say I will not tag it as a age-related concern because irrespective of the age, people from different age brackets are addicted, or I would say hooked on to a lot of games. And currently, we are looking at PUBG and Battlefield, and kids are getting addicted to say Roblox and Minefields, but even when I was a teenager, or I would say I was a kid, people were hooked on to a game called Snakes. If you remember, Sheetal, people used to
Yeah.
like play Snakes for like hours and hours. uh, and that's why I always say gaming addiction is one type of addiction which is not very specific to age specific, or it is not very gender specific addiction, but it in general is a addiction or a feeling of being hooked onto something which gives you ultimate pleasure. Actually, people who are like gaming experts and also gaming addicts, I would say, have always said that that gives us a pleasure, and there's something that we get when you play game. You feel relaxed, and I always wonder how playing like fighting games or shooting games can make you feel relaxed.
But tell me, Jaswandi, I have heard a number of people say these things that, there are certain character traits in people who get or who become addicts. It could be addiction to anything, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, and now internet gaming as well. Is that true? Do you think that there are certain kind of people or there are certain character traits in people which possibly convert them into addicts?
I would not say like specific personality or character traits, but yes, there are some pre, or I would say earlier experiences that lead us to actually get into a lot of gaming, or a lot of, I would say, especially the aggressive gaming games. Yes, there are certain types of people, or I would say certain personality traits that these people have, who generally get addicted or hooked on to say aggressive games, or games that include where you have to show your power, where you have to show that dominance over the other person. Yes, there are certain, for example, people who have low self esteem, you have self doubt about yourself, you do not consider yourself to be worthy enough to do something. Such people I have seen, and I'm not sure about how reliable this information would be, but this is a very generic observation that we as psychologists have made, wherein people who have low self esteem, or I would say who have self doubt or self confidence issues, generally tend to uh, get involved in very aggressive or power domination games, which leads to them like giving a ego massage, to themselves, by saying, oh, if I cannot do this, yes, but I'm good in games, and I'm like killing people, and I'm showing my power, I'm being the powerful one.
That's a very, very interesting point that you've raised, Jaswandi. And come to think about it, there was a recent video that I saw wherein a case study and a person who, a 20-year-old who was addicted to internet gaming, and there was an interview that was happening. And he very openly said that, there are kids who get bullied in school, there are kids who are not heard at all. And we only get that venting out or that let out when we are playing a game. And that is exactly what you're talking about here.
Also, Sheetal, it's about, if we talk about emotions, a lot of kids or teenagers and adolescents find it difficult to recognize and even understand what am I going through, and at that time they don't know, okay, how should I react. When they resort to such games, they know, okay, I just want to take it out. I don't know what that emotion is, but I can take it out in the form of, say, anger, in terms of resentment. I can just take it out. Basically, the people who find it difficult, this is what is my observation, people who find it difficult to regulate their emotions are generally people who are hooked on to games which include a lot of aggression or lot of, say, where you are in the limelight, where the gaming character is in the limelight. Because as you said, rightly said, people are bullied in the school. That's why I was saying your previous experiences do come into a picture when we talk about particular personality traits which are very at risk, I would say, of becoming game addicts.
And it is pretty surprising, Jaswandi, because I see a number of people around me who are constantly hooked on to gaming. And to basically narrate a very, very recent incident that happened with me, and it actually kind of is also an inspiration why we are doing this episode today. All right, so I went to a drugstore and I was supposed to, get some medicines. There were some medicines that were prescribed to me, so I went to a drugstore near my place, and the person at the counter who was supposed to hand me the medicines kept playing the game, and he was playing PUBG. So, you know, uh, I waited out for a minute, and then he quickly screened through, the prescription with half-heartedly, looking at his screen once and then looking at the prescription, and very haphazardly, very hurriedly trying to find the medicines that were written in the prescription. And then he started getting irritated because he wanted to get back into the game, right? So he started getting irritated because he couldn't find that one medicine, in the two drawers that were lying right in front of him, only because he wanted to keep watching the screen, right? So he didn't move from there, budge from there. And after a while, then he called out and yelled out at his partner who was standing outside, and he said that, why are you going out? Why don't you come inside and help me out with this medicine? And the medicine was right there in front of him. Now, when I look at all these things, I see the kind of irritability that a person feels, and also what is surprising to me, that here is a person who's running a business, but he's ready to suffer losses in that business only because he wants to play that game. Is it that addictive?
Yes, I would say, Sheetal, not just in case of PUBG or any other new games. I'm sure people know about the Pokemon game fever that was there a few years back, and people had gone crazy. They were going on the top of the terrace and catching the Pokemon, and as if it was actually a real Pokemon. The craze about games have increased so much. But Sheetal, as you rightly said, people are ready to go beyond the limit to do anything about achieving something in the game. Because, as I said, for them, achieving in a game, or if the character in the game achieves it is according to them that they have achieved it. Because there are certain triggers that have led them to feel that, okay, I might not be able to achieve it, but yes, in the game, you know what, Chital, I achieved this, I achieved that. So uh, this aspect of, I would say, a clash between the reality and the game life is taking a toll on so many people now. For as you shared an example, Sheetal, I have been speaking to a lot of friends of mine who are into, say, playing PlayStation and playing a lot of these PUBG and other online games. And I keep asking them, like, what goes through your mind when you're actually playing through it? And one of my friend recently told me that, you know what, when you're playing PS5, he's a very like, he's not a game addict, I would say, but he's a PlayStation lover, and he always says that, okay, I love playing. And I realized when he was talking about it, Sheetal, the the amount of excitement he had, had never seen him talk about any other subject with that excitement. And he used to tell me, okay, but there is a lot of stress involved, and that gets me to think, if even the game is stressing you out, then how can game be called as a stress release? According to me, when people play games, these days, they are always hooked on to think about what's going to happen next. Okay, how will I achieve this mission? How will I complete this? How will I have that winner chicken dinner in the PUBG? So with all of this, as you said, the craze of gaming and winning in a game has reached to a point that they are ready to sacrifice all the daily living skills, yet go ahead with winning in the game.
And just one thing, not just business, but I see a lot of relationships suffering because of that. I see a lot of problems in terms of interpersonal dealings with that. So if you have any person playing a game and there is a phone call, let's say from the mother or from your girlfriend coming in, then it's a very hurried, half-hearted sort of conversation that you have, wherein you are not even, I won't even use the word mindful, you are not even conscious about what you are saying and what the other person is telling you. So it is really, really, I think that it's a real addiction which needs some sort of intervention for sure.
Yes, and Sheetal, I would say when you said people actually pick up the phone, there are game addicts or even people who I know who do not even pick up your call. Like imagine you someone is calling you for last 10-15 minutes and you're not picking up the call because you are worried that if I pick up the call, I'll lose my concentration in the game and I might not win the game. So what you said, yes, relationships are getting affected, your business is getting affected, and moreover that, Sheetal, even your lifestyle to a certain extent, your psychological well-being to a certain extent is getting affected.
True, Jaswandi, and we will come to that. But before that, a lot of gamers, when you tell them that, you've been playing for a very long time, they generally get defensive and they say that, no, we've not been playing for that long. And when you go and you check, thanks to all these smartphones, now you can check the screen time and what all apps you've been, active on, you find out that that person has been playing the game for possibly some 14 or 15 hours. And is that normal by any standard?
I wouldn't say normal or abnormal because I'll tell you, yes, it is according to me and as a psychologist, it's not the right thing to be doing because I'll give you narrate you a story about my student who with whom I was working. He was in his grade 10th and okay, it was a board year, and now in India how it is. uh, he used to tell me that he wakes up in the morning at 5 o'clock not to study but to play a game because one of his friend is available at 5 o'clock. And can you imagine, Cheetal, that boy used to play a game from 5 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning. Like 5 to 11 is a long duration because you can do so many things, you can be productive at that time because that's a peak hour. So if someone asks me about playing say 13-14 hours a day, is it normal or good for your health, I will surely say no, it's not good for your health. I would say what is a normal period or normal span of playing or engaging into any game is, say for example, daily if you sit for an hour at max. Again, I would say that 1 hour should be segregated and divided throughout the day and not that you're sitting 1 hour at a stretch to play a game. Or you can do one thing, you can play a game say for an hour or hour and a half on the weekends. But playing a game, getting hooked onto something, yes, turns it out to be an addiction because in all the other types of addiction, if you do anything beyond a certain level, that's called as an addictive stage. So in similarly in this in this type of addiction as well, I would say if you cross a particular number of hours, say I for me or a as a psychologist, I would say after a day after 2 hours, if you still keep playing, yes, that's an addiction because in those 2 hours you are changing a lot of things that you usually do, or your, I would say, daily functioning is getting affected because of that 2 hours constant gaming.
Absolutely, Jaswandi. And I'm sure that there will be other markers as well which tell you whether your playing game is just something for de stressing or has it become an addiction. How does a person know that?
So yes, Sheetal, there are like all the, as I mentioned, like all other addictions, there are signs and symptoms, or I would say red flags that you should be looking at when you actually want to know whether you are a game addict or not. So the first one I would say, Sheetal, is that you're constantly thinking about playing the game. For example, I just switched off my PS5 or a gaming system or even my phone. I kept my phone away, but even if I'm talking to my mother, I'm still thinking about how am I going to cover this level, how am I going to fight with this enemy, how am I going to battle this. If you're constantly thinking about that game throughout the day without any distraction in that thought, yes, you might be at a risk of being a game addict. The second one is, Sheetal, as you were talking about, feeling restless and irritable to an extent that, as that man in the medical shop just shouted at you, saying, shouted at his partner, saying that, okay, why can't you be here? The irritability, the voice of restlessness is also a big sign or a red flag of gaming addiction. The third is being secretive about the time spent. As you said, a lot of people generally say, you know what, no, I don't spend so much time. Who told you? Now, when you say that, you yourself know that, okay, I'm spending a lot of time, I should not be spending this much time. So when you have that thing and you're trying to hide it from someone, yes, again, you might be at a risk, or I would say you might be extremely hooked on or addicted to playing games. The fourth one I would say is tiredness. You feel fatigue, or you feel weak after playing game for hours and hours. And if you actually look at the physical or physiological aspect of it, yes, Sheetal, any person will feel tired, right? Because you are constantly watching something, you're getting exposed to a lot of visual stimulation that's happening, your hands are working, your brain is working at the same time. So not the physical tiredness, but mentally you feel drained, you feel fatigued, you feel as if all the energy has been sucked out of it. So again, this fourth can be a symptom or a sign of gaming addiction. Headache and hand pain, as I said, because you're constantly looking, your brain is processing, you're using your hands and doing a lot of things. These can be the physical symptoms. So if you start noticing these physical symptoms, you need to know, oh, oops, okay, I might be playing the game too much, or I might be a game addict. I would also say, Sheetal, I have seen a lot of cases where people have stopped taking care of their personal hygiene. Like, I have had a client who used to take bath like once in 2 days, because he was so hooked on to playing games, and he was like, I don't care, I don't want to do anything, but I want to play game. So he used to find it difficult to take time out to eat, to take a bath, and that was affecting his personal hygiene to a greater extent. Last but not the least, I would say, Sheetal, during the lockdown or during this COVID pandemic, I have realized that the inclination of people to play games and get addicted to playing games has increased. The major reason is because of socialization. People have stopped socializing, which led to people getting addicted to game. And again, because you're addicted and so hooked on to games, you are not socializing, you're not meeting friends, you're not taking time out. Because if you're playing for 14 hours a day, where do you have time to go out and meet friends? You are distracted at work, you are not working, you're not completing your college assignments, and this all becomes a vicious cycle. So you find it difficult to come out of this cycle, because you don't know where should I break it. And according to me, as a psychologist, the breaking point will be to reduce your exposure to playing games.
Absolutely, Jaswandi. And while these are the symptoms which kind of, or or the signs that say that you possibly would be getting a gaming addict, but it gets really, really scary when you hear news, the kinds that we heard, almost a week back, wherein a 16-year-old kid shot his mother when she tried stopping him from playing PUBG. He shot his mother using his father's licensed pistol, and then hit the body, for 3 days sitting there. And these are really, really scary. These might be less in number right now, but I think that a lot of gamings that people do, and especially when they do it for a longer hour, I think that it kind of stimulates you and turns you into a more aggressive person. What do you think?
Yes, Sheetal, and I would say aggression, a lot of times, Sheetal, all of us have that trait of either we are passive aggressive or we are aggressive. But this aggression takes over to the next level when you are actually exposed to games which include a lot of violence, which include a lot of, say, aggression, anger, resentment. And when you do not have the correct exposure to take it out, you take it out in the wrong way, like how this boy did, and that leads to a lot of behavioral issues, by the way, Sheetal, because because of this aggression, you're not able to regulate your emotion. You're not able to, for example, I'm sure he didn't wanted to kill his mother, but he was not able to regulate or express it in a way, and because he was under the influence of so many violent games, he just took the action. And for a lot of times what I have realized is people who get into addiction, Sheetal, they know the consequence. It's just that they do not know how to come out of it, and they don't realize that this consequence can be really fatal.
But just one thing, tell me that is it possible that after a point, it becomes difficult for a heavy user of an internet gaming, or a a gamer who plays games for let's say 13 hours 14 hours at a stretch, it becomes difficult for them to understand the action and the consequences in the virtual world as compared to the real world.
Yes, because Sheetal, what happens is that people are, as I said, they are preoccupied with the game in itself. So their thoughts are only related to game. They do not think about the consequence, what is my behavior, what are my thoughts. They are only into the game. And as you rightly said, after you play and if after you're exposed to a particular game or a particular online website for a long time, you find it difficult to come out of it because you are not able to think through it, because your thoughts are not aligned to the reality. And that's why in psychology we always say the person is not in touch with reality. That means the person knows, he's aware. Obviously, Sheetal, all of us watch news, read a lot of articles. We know that this is bad or this might not be helpful or healthy, yet we do not refrain from doing it. The reason is, as you rightly said, because people are not in the state of understanding it, they find it difficult to actually come out of it. If you know that, okay, I am doing something which I should not be doing, I will take the step if I realize it. If you're playing for 14 hours, where do you have the time to actually realize it? And even if you realize it, you feel, okay, this is giving me pleasure, I'm happy doing it, why should not I do it?
That's absolutely true, Jaswandi. And like usually with a lot of drug addicts, the one thing that therapists or people who are working at the addiction centers say, that sometimes you have to make the person, the addict, realize the consequences of his actions. If the person has had too much of drugs, and if he is lying on the floor, don't pick him up and put him on the bed, but let him lie on the floor, so that when he wakes up, there is some sort of guilt or shame, or something attached to it, that kind of emotion, so that they shake up and they understand that what is the consequence of their action.
Also, Sheetal, right now when we're talking about drug addiction or alcohol addiction, uh, even medically they are given a particular drug which can help them reframe. For example, a lot of time, Sheetal, because the people who are into the phase of addiction find it difficult even to understand the emotion. So for them, the behavioral or the cognitive functioning or cognitive counseling might not help. So for them, getting into a medical intervention also helps a lot. But all said and done, Sheetal, after so much exposure, or I would say after recurrent use of games or getting involved in games, there are so many other comorbid conditions that can develop because of extreme addiction towards a game. So, Sheetal, I would say when we speak about behavioral issues, these issues are related to, I would say, not just the way you behave, but also the way you interact, the way you present yourself. So, the first and the most important issue that comes out, which I have been talking about from the start of this podcast, is that it reduces our social interaction with people, and that tends to affect you a lot. Because, Sheetal, imagine before you were a game addict, you were like, you had so many friends, you were talking to you were talking to a lot of people, and then you get into addiction of gaming. You are playing games for 15-14 hours, and then someone comes and tells you, no, you know what, you should go out and talk to people so that you will take some time out. But then you realize, I do not have friends. I do not have that interaction. So again, as I said, this becomes a cycle. So the first and the most important concern that people develop is that the social interaction or even their social skills reduce to a greater extent. I would say they are a lot of research has also found that the gaming addicts or game addiction can lead to development of ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Basically, here you feel restless, irritable, you find it difficult to concentrate at something, you find it difficult to sit at one place because you get very fidgety, you get very impulsive. Why is this happening is because in the game you have to be on the tip of your toes, like you have to be constantly into the game. You cannot take time, like as your drug store person, he wanted to be there because he knew if I don't do it I might lose it. So you have to be very quick in taking decisions in the game. Similarly, a person might develop the comorbid condition of ADHD. I would say, Sheetal, another behavioral issue would be, and I won't say this is a behavioral issue, but behavioral, also emotional issue would be that the person might be at risk of getting diagnosed with depression and anxiety, because you get so restless, you get so anxious when things are not working out. Because in the game, like for example, I myself, when I used to play a lot of games, Sheetal, I remember I used to quit the game at times because I get restless and anxious that I might not be able to make it through. Similarly, that had somehow related, like affected my personal life to a greater extent, because when things were not in my control, I used to just leave them when I knew I need to be working on them. This used to leave a lot of anxiety, a lot of guilt, a lot of self doubt in me, which used to make me isolated, which I used to isolate myself from people around me, from people, from my family. And again, that used to make me feel, okay, if I don't have anything to do, then why not go and play a game? So all these behavioral issues become very severe when you keep playing a lot of game, and not just, I would say, one game, but when you are exposed to multiple games for a longer duration of time.
Absolutely, Jaswanti. And now the big question, if you are around a game addict, if you are living with a game addict, how do you usually, the instant reaction of a person is to possibly get into fights with those people, right? But I am sure that that is not a that is not a way that has worked with anyone. So what are the ways in which you can ensure that this person gets out of this addiction?
So, Sheetal, I always tell the caregivers that if the person is not willing to take the first step, any person in this world, even a psychiatrist or psychologist, cannot make a lot of difference. So, the first thing is that the family or the caregiver needs to go for the therapy first to understand that how can I make the person realize that this is something that's wrong for you. Uh, because when we talk about neurologically, Sheetal, the prefrontal cortex, or the cortex, which is the main area of the brain which takes you make like gets you to take the decision, is closed when you're into an addiction, any type of addiction. So the first step is when the person is willing to change and take the first step. So the caregivers need to go and talk to an expert to understand, is this an addiction? Is my friend, my family, my husband, my boyfriend, my partner, is he or she or they going through any sort of addiction? And if the answer is yes, then the professional will help you come to, like, provide help to your partner or the person or your significant other, to understand and help them understand, okay, I need to take some help. The second way, if the person has realized and accepted that, okay, I think I'm playing games way too much, which is not normal or which is not healthy for me, that person can go to, again, a therapist or a professional. And why I'm saying this, Sheetal, to go to a professional, is because it is important to work on your thoughts. As I said, people say addiction is related to your behavior. I would say addiction is more related to your thoughts, because it is the way you think that makes you an addict rather than the way you behave, because your thoughts drive your behavior. So when you go to a professional, the professional will help you with a certain type of therapies, will help you work on your beliefs, work on your thoughts, work on your behavior, which will help you to slowly come out of the addiction. Now, again, people ask me, Sheetal, can I just stop playing games? If I'm playing for 14 hours, can there be a day when I just stop playing any game? If I have to answer this question, I would say no. You cannot change your behavior completely in a day or two. It will be a systematic or gradual exposure to reduce your gaming addiction, which a professional can help you with. And last but not the least, if you feel no, still my addiction is not going down, I'm still not able to control my urge of playing a game, it is advisable to visit a de-addiction center, which can help you actually rehabilitate your addiction to a better and healthy solution.
Thank you, Jaswandi. That is such important information. I'm sure that it must help a lot of people who are, around gamers as well. So, to sum it all up, if you are a game addict, like any other addiction, you need to first accept that there's a problem. If you are someone living with a game addict, then if talking to this person is not helping, then consider therapy could be an important step towards ensuring the problem that it is addressed well in time. Now, gaming addiction might have reasons in past experiences or trauma, and those can only be addressed by a professional, who can help you out with that. So, caregivers should also remember, like Jaswandi rightly said, that there is going to be a slow weaning off process. Gaming is not going to stop suddenly, but all you'll have to do is that constantly monitor this person and also understand and give that person the space to overcome this addiction along with your help and a professional help. So thank you so much, Jaswandi, for this very, very important, all these points and all these advice that you have shared with us. And I'm sure that our listeners will benefit with that a lot. Well, thank you so much, listeners, for joining us, and we'll be back the next time round.